sorry. I just keep dancing.
I know. We have an error message though, so bear with me, guys.
That's Tech and Tools, I'm sure. That always gives me an error message. I didn't get one though.
It says, oh, it disappeared. Let me check on my phone while we get started just to see how we're doing in the groups.
Oh, there we go. Having trouble. That was your creative hustle.
Yeah, I thought we reconnected. Yeah, it's not in there.
Just remove from the destination stream, then re-add it.
Bear with us, guys. Sorry, this happens.
Yes, tech. I know the Tech and Tools does that to me. I'm surprised.
So remove. I can do it real quick. Let's see. We're going to remove. Good morning, Rhonda. Thanks for joining us. And then add.
And sometimes I just have to grab the YouTube link, which I could go. I didn't go on there to prepare for it.
It's swirling. Let's see if it works. Ah, let's see. We got a green check mark, hopefully.
It's always something. I don't know. It's like Facebook must have made changes and now it's kind of, I don't know. Like I just have issues.
Perfect. We're in there. Welcome to your creative hustle. We had a tech issue and we had to relink. We're good to go.
But that's good. And make sure you have, we have this entire workbook ready for you. You can download it. So we have the bit.ly, you can click on that. Maybe I have all sorts there we go. I'm going to scroll, do that fun stuff. I'm going to delete that one. Good to go. All right. So we have this book, download it. This used to be a full day workshop, right? Because I just saw that memory. So that was.
Yeah, I actually have that book. I think I have it right here, maybe. I use it all the time. I have it somewhere. I just saw it.
So we have, I mean, this used to be a full day event. And then we turned it, obviously, when the world shifted, we kind of made it a 4-week session with Carrie on the Monday morning wake-up call when we had the podcast. And now we're turning it into an hour. So there is a lot more in the workbook when it comes to all the expenses. We're not going to go, I mean, basically you need to know your numbers. So we're going to kind of briefly cover all of that. Hey, Janine, yes, and you've done the full 4-week session that we would do. And that sounds cold in Massachusetts. I'm nice and warm. My feet are happy to be in open-toe shoes. We had to sit on the tarmac for a while to de-ice the plane when I was leaving Knoxville. So awesome. Can you send that to me? It says Facebook user, so probably not be able to send that to you unless we know who you are. So
we can upload it.
Sounds like you know who we are. So for sure, send it to us and we'll get that book over to you. It is a great book. It's going to have everything that we have that we'll be covering today, as well as even more, because you need to know those, those numbers. So we have a lot of the expenses and all those kind of details. Okay, Deb, that was Deb. So make sure we send it to her. Awesome. Thank you for joining. All right. We're going to go ahead and share our screen. I'm going to keep that scrolling as we go through this. So let's go ahead and get this started. Lots of good stuff. Ask any questions if you have them as we're going through, and we're happy to share. We're going to go over kind of business and of course, marketing and different things that we can do. And we have a lot more inside of that workbook is great. So getting started, and love your input too, Bree, as you go on. One thing that I like to think of is kind of working backwards. And I like to think of what was great about this year, what didn't work about this year, what did I try to do, what didn't kind of work. I mean, we have to try different things in our business if we want to accomplish different results. So that's kind of where I like this Ask Me Anything, like the, what's my vision? What's my value? Where am I at? Where should my business be? Where do I want it to be? The financial part of everything, that's usually a huge part, but also what's my primary goal? Forever and ever, I have a problem. I love what I do. I wake up super early every morning, like 3 a.m. because as soon as I start to wake up, my brain turns on, and I am like the kid who was told we're going to Disney World the next day. That is me. So I get excited and I get to go work. So for the longest time, my primary goal was trying to figure out work-life balance because I love what I do, but definitely when I would go out of town, the kids and my dogs would be sitting in my office. And I knew like that might be a problem if, Leo's like, yeah, everybody's sitting in your office in your chair because that's where they know they always find you. And that to me was always kind of heartbreaking, but I also love what I do. It makes it hard. So for the longest time, my primary goal wasn't always about money. It was balance because you really kind of need that and all that kind of fun stuff.
100%. And that's my priority. Life's too short.
And you going through everything that you had gone through, it
Yeah.
probably takes that meaning to a completely different level.
Yeah,
For sure.
money's great, but I'm not going to think about the money when it's my time to go. So,
Yeah, I can't take it with me. That's what I always say.
yeah.
But
Vision
I
on this one before we skip over some of the stuff. Remember there was who was it? There was one of our friends on Facebook said that they were struggling with their vision because they thought it was just a blanket question. So, and you and I had talked about, adding a couple add-on questions to that when you're trying to self-discover your vision.
Yeah, I think the vision is what do you see yourself doing? To me, it's like, what do I want, whether it be business, but you have to incorporate personal into
Yeah.
your business plan. I've always done business planning more on the management side on, whether it be my business, the offices, that I've always worked at. I mean, but I make my kids do it. I mean, I've
Yeah.
made my kids do like the vision board and how do we work backwards to achieve that when you think of your 1, 5, 10-year goals and stuff like that. So it's what do
100%.
you vision?
And
It's
do you really want it too, right? Like I always ask myself I ask probing questions once I write down what I think I want. And then I'm like, okay, but why do I want that? And then
mhm.
I might even add another question to that because sometimes you think you want it, but you actually don't. And it's not until you're like halfway through your year and you're like, why was that my vision?
That was to me the biggest thing when the vision board came out. That I thought was silly. I thought, well, I guess we'll do it because everybody else is doing, with all the papers and oh my gosh, the magazines and the mess and the glue, the scissors, and I don't know. Like to me, it seems silly, but at the end of the day, having that in front of me really took that vision times 100.
It's
Even though
true.
I'd always done business planning, it was that vision, reality, and just having that staring in my face every day. I'm an overachiever now that I'm out of school because I definitely wasn't like in high school. But now I want to be that overachiever and seeing different things on my vision board every single day really kind of helped that. But you have to know grand vision. Yes, it could. I mean, it's a deep question. It doesn't have to be. It's not a simple question at all, for sure.
For sure.
But you have to know like your primary goal, marketing, like what are you doing? What should you be doing? I think we all know what we should be doing, but we procrastinate, put it off to the side, don't do it. What
Or what are
activity?
we holding back in our marketing that could actually be the key to our success? That's a fun one too. Like, what are you afraid of?
Well, I think but we're all afraid of something.
Yeah.
And even looking, I mean, the different coaching that I do, it makes me think of things that I'm currently doing in a different way. And it's like a different mindset on what I do, but putting different spins on it. And that's now where I'm having to dig deep on all of, just different marketing techniques. And I may be doing it one way. And then you do coaching and it's like, oh, I never really thought about it in that way, but it is nice to get different perspectives.
Totally.
And as you're doing business plan, make sure you have an accountability partner, whether it be, a coworker, a spouse, anybody. I think it's super important. Like we're accountability partners in a lot of what we're doing, but I think it's super important. You need to share your goals, because if you just keep it to yourself, it's easy to not do it. It's easy to not have that commitment. I share everything with my husband, because when I do have to work late or I can't go do something, and because I'm working on a larger project, he's involved with it. So it's like, I can't do
Gets
this
it. Yeah.
because remember the goal. Well, this is why I'm doing this or that. And having him involved in that helps when I am going to different events or anything like that. Then he understands it more. It's like, yes, we do have that goal and I understand, or, all that kind of fun stuff. And you have to be able to track.
Yes.
I am, I'm like a monthly at least going over all of my numbers and everything, because I may have a goal and I like to make it a little ridiculous, like a lot ridiculous, but it puts me in a different mindset, and we'll kind of cover that in a little bit. But I think reflection is a big deal. And you have to add your personal, because it's your family. It's everything, family and your professional. So think of like what your vision is for your personal. Are you looking like I desperately need to do house upgrades, like my kitchen and my bath? For the last 3 years, it's been on my vision board, but all of that went into my Jeep, which was also on my vision board. But I'm like, okay, build is done. I need to really do my house now.
And
So
I never really did a vision board. I mean, I kind of like lackadaisically maybe did one once until I took this class that you taught in person. And it's crazy. I may not update my vision board every year. Maybe it's every other year because I tend to have long goals that are the same. But I've knocked off quite a bit of it. It might not be exactly how I posted it, but it's pretty dang close. It's really creepy.
no, but mine is different every year there, but I do like, kind of 5 and 10 years
Yeah.
goals, just because you can't just think right now. You have to think, long term, because how you get there is going to be changing. I'm constantly changing, I guess, my life, or, I'm just in different stages of my life, or a lot of times goals that I thought I wanted, maybe I didn't really want. And
Yeah.
so things have to shift, and a lot of keywords. I have like a word of the year. I have a song of the year. Like my ringtone changes every year, because you're just kind of in different phases of your life and different things. Let's see. Okay,
Good
the
point
personal
to me. Yeah.
stuff on your calendar. Yeah,
I
I
do.
have to do the 5 and 10. And I had, my gosh, when I had to sell my old Jeep that was only a 2-door, it only, fit 4 people, but there was 3 kids. So not really practical. Like, okay, that was on my 10-year plan, because I knew, like, okay, once the kids are grown and they have their own cars, like my goal is to get them into cars, teach them how to drive, and now I can get mine back. And of course, now they have the 4-door, but I didn't want the 4-door. I really wanted the 2-door until I saw there was no space. And I was like, okay, maybe I don't want that 2-door anymore. Like, I've had too much trunk space for too long. I can't go to
There
nothing.
you go backwards.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get the bus, but happy now. But I think having that long-term goal for gosh, 20 years, my 10-year goal was to be up in the mountains. I even started dating my husband because he was the bad boy. And I was like, oh, this will never amount, we're just going to have fun. And then I can go move. And that didn't work out for me. But I finally made it to the mountains. It's been something I wanted to do. So I think having that long-term vision is super
Yeah.
important. Personal, professional, both of them. When you're thinking of your professional vision and goals, a lot of times people are wanting to reach a certain award level, which I think is just fine. Are you looking to retire and you're trying to think of a retirement plan? Are you looking to start a team? I'm seeing a lot of that, and just different ways to build it, and different things. So what is your professional life look like 1, 5, 10 years? There's just so many different elements to everything and all of the business plans. So I think we have to know
Put
all
it
that.
somewhere where you can see it too. Like I have a big poster board and I have my sections off for my 5, 10 immediate. I have health, I have family, I have leisure, business, my passions on there, and I put it's right in front of my closet. So as I walk in and out of the closet every day, I take a look at it and non-consciously you absorb that stuff. So you got this.
Having my vision board right next to me, like I have a huge, like pretty cork board. So as I go to sit in my office, it's right there. I've had some that will even take theirs and download it, and it's their desktop, like their screensaver. So it's just something that you're seeing every single day. I think it's important. All right, going on to your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
I'm going to
This
be
is some
honest. This is my least favorite activity, but it's really important.
it is, because I think it makes you really think. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. And when I'm looking to partner with anybody, or having everybody the same isn't always the best.
Right.
Having people with different ideas and how they approach things and strengths and weaknesses, it's, I think it's the same as opposites attract, like
It's a
spouses
good
and
balance,
whatnot.
right?
Yeah, because I think we have to balance each other's out. Like I know what I'm not so good at. I'm finding people that are good at what I'm not good at. And I think it's no different than like an agent when you're looking for an assistant. Like you want to be able to kind of delegate the activities that are not fun for you. Right? Like I love websites. Not everybody loves to build websites and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's like
I
you
do.
have to delegate, and I feel that's where the strength and weakness, like you have to know what your strengths are, you have to know what your weaknesses are, because how are you going to balance those out?
Yeah.
And it's also like your value proposition. What are your strengths? Because it should be all over, whether it be your website, your marketing, listing presentation, whatever it may be, your strengths need to be on there. What sets you aside from everybody else? What do you do differently? And then when you're thinking of your opportunities and even threats, right now the threats may be, well, interest rates are a little different. I mean, what I love when you're kind of in business for yourself is we don't have to be like other companies. Like we get to adjust our sales and kind of modify what we're doing to adjust to the current. I mean, that's one thing I love about real estate, is it's constantly evolving, always changing. So it's never boring, because it's, we have to think differently. We have to think outside the box. I mean, for some agents who maybe haven't been in the business that long, their weakness is 100% not being able to understand, higher interest rates. In my head, I'm like, well, gosh, my grandmother had no problems selling and, selling homes when interest rates were 14, 16, 18%. I bought my first home at 8%, no points, and was thrilled. And I still, in 8 years, made over $100,000. So to me, I'm like, I don't know. This is like, we're coming back to normal. Like it hasn't been normal. It's been like free money. And how did they keep it like free for so long? I mean, I get it, but when you think longevity and the amount of money that you can still make, it's, 8% is still nothing. Yes, it's hard when you have, 3%, but it's easy to overcome anybody who's been in real estate longer than, you know, 8, 10 years or whatnot, that's been through all this. So you have to know what the opportunities, threats, your whole SWOT, all that fun stuff. Any ideas on that one? Any other? Because I know the SWOT's not fun. But
No, SWOT's not fun. I think for me, when my husband and I, so we evaluate our stuff. We coach with workmen, and this is such a pivotal point within the workman system. And I've had to revisit this quite a bit. Like we scratched our entire business model 3.5 months ago, like scratched it and started over. And threats for me was a big one because it wasn't just the economy and the industry, and I'm not a typical real estate agent. We all know that. It was my internal threats, my ADHD, my distractions, how to keep myself accountable. So I really had to dive in for that because Anyone who knows my husband, he's an engineer first, real estate second. So him and I are wired totally different.
But that's where the opposites attract.
Yeah.
So that is where it's good where you guys are a team because what you're good at, it's the opposite and
Yeah.
different perspectives on different things.
If
But
you
yeah,
can
you guys
learn
are about as
patience.
opposite. I mean, the videos are pretty funny because I mean, Kenny's like trying, you can tell, like getting out of his shell. I mean, it was the same thing like Sue, Pinky, Benson, and Josh. I remember back when she was doing the videos, and if she panned over to Josh, he would just be like, "Oh my gosh, like we're in a restaurant. Why are you
Why
doing
are
the
we doing this?
stupid video?" And now he's the one on the videos too. So I'm sure like Kenny's same way. You know, it's just kind of I think opposites attract. And
Yeah,
I think when you're working assistant teams, anything like I think it's good to have that kind of opposite because you're going to
100%.
get a different perspective and it's going to help fill in these blanks.
And
Different perspective.
I think my very last suggestion, because being on the operation side of a brokerage for so long before I went solo, this is the one thing I have seen time and time again, and some of the most quote unquote successful in regards to dollar for dollar real estate agents I know, especially some locally, their threat would be the lack of trust when delegating. So I think if you can figure out that that is a weakness of yours and then incorporate how is that a threat, especially if you're trying to be a top producer and run and manage a highly efficient team, delegation's key. So that's something you might have to work out within yourself for sure.
It's been super, super hard. It's one of my weaknesses because I have a hard time, but at the same time, I just have to understand not everything will always, I I have to be okay with what I can't control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I need help. So I don't know. I've always had a problem delegating, but I also see by delegating how much more I can do.
Totally.
So it's always been a
Double-edged
struggle for
sword.
me. It's
Yeah.
always been a struggle. And Rhonda thinks that Kenny's trying to reel you back. I think he may try, but there's no reeling
There's
you.
no really me back in. But that's a great analogy. Before we move on to the next slide, I always tell him I'm the balloon in the sky and he's the weight keeping me grounded. Our entire relationship for the last 16 years. That's what I tell him.
That's a good one, but that's true. Well, he can try,
He
but
tries.
he can try. But that's where it helps. No, that's funny. So this is kind of where I go into my vision board. I kind of have one section. And if you go and you just Google or you have Canva and you just do a search for vision board, I have seen there is no right, no wrong. I just put in here, this is kind of what I use. I do like not having to make a mess and go through 25 magazines to find my one power word. When I can just go into Canva, it's not like I'm putting this out anywhere. I can literally go to Google, find exactly what I want, or go into Canva, search an element to be able to put in everything that I want. But there's tons of templates. You can do it in anything. There is no right or wrong. If you want to get the scissors and paper and everything else, go for it. To me, time is important and I can just go into Canva. I know exactly what I want. How do I word it and move it around? But I like to use half of my page for the coming year, but I always want to make sure I have a spot for 5 and for 10 years because it's what I'm doing this year is setting me up for my 5 and 10 years. So this is what I usually like to do. And it's think of power words. Think of what you're looking to be able to achieve. I am pretty sure I have had retirement forever on there and I'm still kind of stink at all that kind of stuff. Hurts my brain. But I also, now I have like the RV and, looking for property and land, maybe an RV park, maybe traveling on the RV. Like there's just every year I do kind of change what I'm looking to do. And it's not like it has to be set in stone, but having the visual every day at my desk, I don't know what, I mean, I just remember the first year doing this, I thought it was silly. until I saw at the end of the year, or it wasn't even the end of the year, it was my first quarter checkup. And I was like, holy crap. Like I literally had 2 things left of everything I had on my vision board. That made like all the difference in the world. Yes, the business plan, but the vision. And it's to me, I think we have to create that vision and put it somewhere, because when we're doing our business plan, we have to work backwards. So
Yeah.
this is what I envision. This is what I want to achieve. How do I get there? Here are my current numbers. What do I need to do to accomplish everything? So, and if you're looking to do vacations or travel more, I mean, make sure that's all on there. Put the beaches on there. Put those power words. And
And
what's
if
your
you're
favorite part on the vision board?
It's true. And I think for me, because a lot of you who have seen us talk more and more, my biggest thing is the psychology of it all. And we don't really understand until we start researching the power of visuals. There's a reason why affirmations and just having certain things really drives home non-consciously. So if you're on the fence about this, do a little research on the psychology of having a visual and how just having it there and just like reading it and walking by and not even think of it, how it like imprints in your brain. It's huge. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was blown away, and now besides the back that we'll get to, this is like my number one thing I do every single year and have it right next to me, because I was kind of blown away at the impact of the visual aspect of this. And it's so easy to be able to make these.
And it's fun. It's like arts and crafts.
Well, I still don't do the scissors, but it is, just being able to go to Google and find what I want, slap it on the design. It's just going up in my office. So I'm not worried about, it's not really going out there. But you need to share this with accountability partners so that you can do the checkups. But to me, this is super important. As silly as you may think it is, I promise you, do it. And then next year, let us know how that impacted you versus what you had done before.
Yeah.
Promise you won't think it's silly after that. And knowing your numbers. So in the book, in the download, in the link, I have all of the sheets for your marketing, for your business, and for your personal. You have to know your numbers. It's the only way you're going to be able to figure out what you need to do, what you need to change to be able to reach those goals on your vision board. So if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And numbers is not fun. Doing the expenses is not fun. But I was kind of blown away when the first time I did coaching. This was basically my first week's assignment. And I'm like, oh, not fun. I was kind of blown away at how much stuff I didn't realize was that I was paying for that I never used. Apparently, I had one of my cards attached to my son's PlayStation. So I was paying for a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. So after doing this assignment, I actually was able to save. I mean, I just in the first 6 months, I found $500 like that I was able to cancel. So numbers isn't fun, but I feel you have to know your numbers. You have to know where your business comes from. You have to know what you're going to put your money, put more into, what to take away, what apps you use. I mean, gosh, even when we just did that apps class, I was like, oh, I remember you telling us about this a few years ago, and I paid for it then, and I've been paying for it and I haven't used it.
Oh no.
But I keep saying, but I'm going to, but same thing. You have to be able to go through your expenses. It is not a fun project, but it's something I feel it's super important in your business. You have to know where everything comes from. You have to know how much you're spending, on your business, on your marketing, and in your personal life. Because once you know what your expenses are, you know what you're wanting to do, whether you're wanting that new car, whether you're wanting to go on that family vacation, you have to budget that in so that you know what you have to do every single day in your business to be able to achieve those goals. Can't just, wish in a prayer and, pray something happens. I don't think so. Kind of crazy. But so in the workbook, I have full sheets on all of this to be able to do that. Because then the not so fun part is measure and track. And I hope everyone does all of this, to know what your GCI is, how much you did on how much you spent in your business, how much profit you actually had. A lot of people we see, yes, you're getting all of these huge awards, but when you look at how much you're spending on everything, like what is your take home? Like,
Yeah.
yes, you may have all these, it kind of baffles me. It's like you see, like, yes, they got this huge award or they made this much money, but how much profit did they actually make after paying for the assistant,
Correct.
after paying for all this swag, after paying for all this, all this different thing? Are you still able to reach your goals? Yes, you may reach, reaching an award level as a goal is one thing, but knowing what you're profiting is a totally separate thing. So you need to know what you're spending, what your, gross commission, what your business expenses are, what your personal expenses are, to know what your profit is. How many listings, how many buyers did you work for, sellers, renters, whatever it may be, investors? You need to know where everything comes from, because the only way to be able to change that is to know where you're currently at. So definitely go in there, look at the average commission per transaction, knowing your average and who you're, if you're working with more sellers or buyers, it's really going to help you come up with the game plan for your future. So how many hours do you spend prospecting? Do you prospect? Do you have a set amount of time? Do you have a power hour? I mean, these are all things that you need to look at and reflect on as you build your business plan, because there's
Yeah.
always room for improvement.
And I actually have a habit tracker that I will be releasing next month, along with a class on how to do it if anyone decides they want to purchase it. And it's all about that. It's about tracking yourself, tracking how much you're doing each day, prospecting, and so on and so forth. Because I am not a top producer. But what baffles some top producers about me is that I am so good with where I spend my money that I do things that they cannot understand how I'm able to afford to do it. And it's because I do this. You don't have to make $500,000 or $250,000 in order to maximize your funds. And what I learned was how to be frugal and where to get free ROIs on certain marketing things that I didn't have to spend for leads, or I didn't have to spend for that or this or that. And then being able to track what I'm doing daily. So stay
No,
tuned.
and it's huge. Oh, I can't wait, because I remember seeing that.
I know. So I have to make a not as colorful version for other people. So that's where I'm at. The one I made was really for me because since I am coaching, my coach said, do your daily success habits. And I'm like, I don't like them. Sorry. So I made my own. And she's like, I think you had more fun making your own. I said, I did. But it's really brightly colorful. It's like Lisa Frank, like
Yeah, I was
art
going to say
style.
very Lisa Frank
Very
style.
Lisa Frank. So I have to make one not so Lisa Frank.
No, that's great. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't posted that or anything. So,
I know. I've been sitting on it. January, guys. January.
yeah. So definitely know that. Hey, stranger, I haven't seen him
Yeah.
since Vegas. All right. So once you have that, go through your this year's business review, know your sales volume, GCI, how many transactions you did, and are you tracking appointments?
Mm.
Like, a lot of people don't track appointments. I have everything done in an app, so everything is trackable and I can see what works, what doesn't work. It's, helps me know closing ratio, all of that kind of fun stuff. But then also knowing like your listings, buyers, referrals, or do you have other sources?
Yeah.
Definitely keep that in there, because you should be, every time you talk to somebody, you should know where they came from. I mean, I think a lot of people like don't even always like to do that, but I think it's super important. Where are these people coming from?
Yeah.
Because you need to know what works and what isn't, so that you can double down on what is working.
The hardest time tracking. So I had the hardest time tracking as well. And here's what I had to do. I had to deconstruct my beliefs for it because I was looking at it as I was a failure, which ironically in our household, we have taught our son fail means first attempt in learning. So I had to disconnect the emotion from it and look at it as a scientific process. Once I was able to look at it as like a method, a scientific method, a research, something to be like, okay, well, it's not about me. It's about knowing the numbers and it's just black and white, then it was no problem. It's almost a game to me now. Like I have a lot of fun, like being like, dang it, I really don't like that one, but how can I make it better? So maybe that'll help.
I like that, what you were saying, because it's so true. I think there's so many different things that I may try. And it's like, okay, that didn't quite work out the way I thought it would, or that's taking way too much
Yeah,
time. It doesn't. I mean, I think we have to be able to shift our methods or how we do things, or
100%.
even just our goals in
And if you're a
general.
high achiever, you're so used to things just happening like that, that when it doesn't happen like that, we tend to internalize it instead of being like, okay, like, hello, Thomas Edison, isn't the story like it took him 99 attempts before he figured out how to do electricity? Like, same thing. It's
And
fine.
Barbara, I'm not 100% what you mean by doing this daily.
Which
Um,
I think she means tracking is what I would assume. Yes, if you have the ability to track like how many appointments you had that day and something that's quick and user friendly, the whole point is to make the habit achievable. So the goal is 1% better each day. Don't overcomplicate or overthink it. I know someone else was saying they tend to overthink.
well, I think overthinking is easy to do.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess I don't track daily, but I do. Because the way the system that I have, I can track what's for, what appointments for what, and to know like close ratio, what can I change? How can I make, I think we're always on a route to make things easier, working smarter, not harder, simplify processes. And as we build, but we should know like how many appointments are you calling? Are you prospecting? Just to know every element of your business and how you're getting everything. So once we know what our review is, we're going to be able to go in and kind of take that into what do we need to do. So what do we need to do? You have your vision, you know what goals or maybe what vacations, or if you're looking, for a new car or anything like that, what do we need to do to achieve it versus what is our average? So knowing like sales volume, gross commission, how many transactions, how many appointments. And then maybe if you did, worked with twice many buyers as sellers, maybe you want to change that. So in your goals, as you're working, building that roadmap, maybe you're going to implement more things for, getting more listings versus working with more buyers. So maybe you want to up your game on referrals. What does that look like? What do you need to do to make that happen? But I do think once we're in our mode of what do we need to achieve for our goals, and I would definitely, if you say, okay, well, I've been doing 200, I want to do 250. No, make that triple that, double that,
Make
minimum.
it obscene. Yeah. Just
Like
go for it.
I say double the number that you're thinking of, because, when, okay, I want to do 200, but if I say I want to do 500, you're going to have a different mindset when you're building that plan to do 500. So you're able to say, okay, what agents or companies or whatever that are doing that number, what are they doing in their business that I'm not? You need to have that mindset of the person that's doing triple your business. And that way you can work your way back. Like, what are they doing? I'm not doing this. Because if you just set your goal, okay, I did 200, I want 250, you're not really going to be changing much of anything, just hoping you get better at it. But I think you almost need to double that number. And because I just feel it puts us in a different mindset of what we really need to do to make that 500. And if you only am doing 400, that's still better than 250.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's all in the mindset. And when you put that little number that's just a little bit more than what you made, then you're not really shifting that mindset and really changing how you do everything, because you need to get into that higher mindset, I think, which is probably confusing everybody. Hopefully not. Just think big, go big or go home. And this is where it's like 2024 goals. It is unacceptable for my business to profit. Now you have to think of that. That's a big word, profit. So yes, you may, oh, I want to achieve this, but what is that profit margin? You want that profit because that's what's going to get you all those goals that you have on that vision board. So annual expenses, what are your aspirations? What's on that vision board? What do you need to, net and profit to be able to make those happen? And then we work our way backwards. That goal setting's not fun, right?
This is the fun part, marketing.
Yeah, yeah, for me too. I hate the numbers, but it's like you have to have the numbers.
Yeah.
To be able to work
Totally.
our way back.
Oh my God, this was the first year we really dived in for everything. And even though it was a very strange year for all of us, it was a very strange year, hands down. I mean, me personally, I had a client, I was a repeat client. She blew $75,000 in 30 days gambling, and that was her down payment. So that was fun. Yeah. So it was an interesting year, to say the least, with clients. So I really dove in for the first time. As a lot of you know who have followed me for some time, I love social media. It was free. It was a way for me to build awareness without having to spend a lot of money. I tried Zillow when I first started. It was very helpful to get a little snowball moving. And then I leaned into social media when Zillow became like $1,000 a month to stay in the top 3. I said, I'm out. I quit. So my marketing plan was the first time this year. It has taken me 5 years to actually put it to paper. 5, 6 years, I don't know, somewhere around there. And it's the best thing I ever did. I made a marketing plan, which we'll go into for different areas of my team, as well as my husband. And we've stuck to it. We reevaluate it every quarter. And it's been game changing for me because, like I said, it's now more of a process and there's no emotion to it. So ideas for your marketing plan topics. Now, this is all going to be contingent upon how you run your business. So I have an entire team marketing plan for the Barista Keys team. Then within my team, I have an individual marketing plan based on each person's personality because we are not all the same. So they understand the overview of the team culture and then what is their individual self like. I don't want anyone who's ever going to join my team and need a marketing plan to lose who they are. I wholeheartedly, firmly believe that the team is its own breathing entity, and then the individual is their own subsection of that team. Because at the end of the day, life changes, our career paths change, and I want them to be established if they have to go off and do something on their own or move to a new place, different company, whatever. I don't ever want to have a scarcity mindset in that. A brokerage marketing plan is really important. This is something I've even worked with my brokers on. I love them. We sell over $1 billion every year. I think for the last 3-4 years, we've been $1 billion brokerage with only 4 offices. Yeah, and I'm like, I finally said to them in the most loving way as possible, as like this year, I said, we are $1 billion brokerage, act like it. And what I meant by that was they're secret. Nobody knows who we are or what we do. I'm not saying be egotistical about it. I'm like, own it, be confident. So if you have a brokerage, whatever your specialty is with your brokerage, create a plan for that. Also a traditional marketing plan. And what I mean by traditional marketing is mailers are still impactful. Pop buys are still impactful. If anyone tells you that some of these things are outdated, they're either in a completely different market than you are, or it's not working for them. The one thing I have seen time and time again is real estate influencers will say Facebook is dead. Well, clearly it's not, because I now am a pro creator and I make money off of every single thing I post now. It just came out. So if Facebook was dead, then that wouldn't even be an option. And it's still statistically, if you run the stats, which they're all over Google, it's the number 1 used platform globally to date. So
no,
there you go.
It's very powerful.
online marketing. This is stuff that's not social media. So this could be KV Core, this could be Chime, it could be Google Ads, Zillow, realtor ads, whatever it is that you're running, that's your online marketing, a blog you're doing, something like that. And then your marketing social media plan. So for me, I am very aware of what posts outperform other posts. And because I'm very consciously aware of what social media things will outperform other things, I then have the choice, and that is the biggest word. I then have the choice to post something because I feel like posting it versus like I know it'll get attention. And what I mean by that is if I choose to post something because I feel like posting it, I do not get discouraged if it does not perform well because I did it knowing that it would not perform as well as other strategic social media posts. So having the insights and paying attention to your social media is huge. If you have the ability to convert your profile to a digital creator, or what's the other one? There's another one you can switch it to now. I'm having a brain fart. So you can track insights. You can actually get your insights from Facebook. I like Facebook hands down because it's one of the most intimate platforms there is right now. TikTok, it's easier to go viral. Same with YouTube. Instagram is very, very hard. Instagram is very vain, very vain. I have found out over the course of doing a business plan, when I post pictures of myself, those outperform other posts on Instagram. Or if I do a reel, when I do audio that's already on Instagram, those outperform original audio on Instagram. It's very vain. And I recently learned, thanks to my husband, if you are a man, you have to train your Instagram algorithm. Otherwise, Instagram is going to send you a bunch of women. So, how you train that is to follow accounts and like their stuff. So, if it's home decor, home improvement, cars, whatever it is, and follow hashtags. Because if you don't do that as a man on Instagram, Instagram will tell you what they think you want to see. Women, it's different. It's like so like mind-blowing to me. So create a plan for that. If you have to train your algorithm, yes, you have to train it like a dog. I'm going to be honest. It's like a little pet that you have to train and it takes a lot of work, but it's worth it. Go for it. So that's a consistency plan. I'm going to be consistent on my social media because social media is just like traditional marketing and it's going to take 12 to 24 months to really see a good change. I always tell everyone too, for your consistency plan, create small wins. So for me, for social media, for example, because that's such a large part of my business, it was the first time someone messaged me about real estate. I got so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, it worked. I was so excited. And then the second small win I had for my consistency plan was when someone approached me in real life about something that I posted. That was huge. Huge. I was like, oh, they remembered. And that's impactful. When you post something that then someone brings up in a conversation later on, that means it's stuck with them. It resonated. So that is huge. Some of you know I have a colorful Santa obsession. I want all of the unique Santa Clauses in the world. So much so that I've done it for so long consistently. My hilarious friends mail me colorful Santas, whether it's Hawaiian Santa, Cuban Santa, Black Santa, you name it, I get it. That's something memorable that you can do and it's fun. And challenge yourself. So, gosh, how long has it been? 2019, I did the video boot camp with Jesse Peters and Michael Thorne. And I actually messaged Michael earlier this year, and his response to me was, Bree, I love you, but what took so long to actually do video? And I said I had to find my voice. So my challenge plan this year was more reels and more videos because I didn't know what I wanted my persona to be through video. So that was a challenge for me. And I had to put in my consistency plan a challenge of I'm going to do at least one reel per week. Now, the first quarter, I did none. I said absolutely none. But then I realized that's something I had to work on later on, and I circled back to it. So these are all really great ideas that you can do marketing wise. Just really make it unique for yourself.
Yeah, I don't do enough of me in reels. I do more of my adventure in reels because
Yeah.
that's fun for me, and I don't hashtag everything because I don't. It's more for me, like my Jeep and my dogs. It's just like, to me, it's my
Like a
easy photo
scrapbook.
album. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to just go to their Instagram and look at all the pictures than it is to try to find them on my crazy photo album on my phone. So for me, it's like adventures, but I've noticed even all of my videos that I do, I get a lot more traction on my scenic ones than me personally, but I get a lot more messages and personal um, messages, I guess, when I'm doing myself or what
Yeah.
I'm doing or something like that. So there's a lot to be said for that, and where I'm trying to do more of that. But to me, that's like not fun. Like, no, Jeep adventures or going up in the mountains or waterfalls, like that to me is what I want to see. But
And
I,
that's it. You're eliminating those who don't want to see you and those that do want to see you. My thing is I want to share a lot. So I have to figure out how to reel it in a little bit, as Rhonda had said earlier. So that's my 2024 goal, is getting very concise and reeling in and
well, that's why
figuring
my
out.
Jeep has its own channel, and then the dogs.
Yeah.
Like I have me personal, and then the business has it. So I'm trying to figure out the balance between all of them. At least now we have the collab, so I can, decide
Yeah.
to collab with others to bring them onto the different channels. So I'm definitely having a hard time with this. And Shane, these will be in whatever group there. It'll be everywhere.
Yeah. Just
I
go
don't
to
know
one of the
where.
groups, you'll find it.
Yeah, any of those big groups, it'll be there in the guide section because
Yeah.
they're streaming live in there, so they'll reside in the groups. You'll be good.
So here's some questions I asked myself when I was creating this marketing plan, was like, what's my yearly goal for my marketing plan? What do I hope to achieve out of this? For me, it was really just being consistent in doing this and being aware. That's all I wanted out of this year, was to be aware. And then what was my quarterly goals? And like I said, I failed my first attempt in learning, my first quarter of doing my quarterly goal. And I was like, like even Kenny had his goal was to be more active on social media, and he did great, and now he's fallen off a little bit, so now he's got to revisit his goal. What was my monthly goal? Weekly? Do you have a daily list? Here's what I do for my goals, just to help. And we all have this because we all have things in our schedule that we know are coming up. I look at what I have going on in my next week, and I look for opportunities of things I can post about. So if I have a listing appointment, or I'm showing homes, or maybe I have something fun and really holiday-esque, like, or something my silly dogs are doing, those are all things that I know I can post about. But it took a while for me to build that habit of looking ahead in my week professionally, and then knowing how to input momentary, like, fun things personally. So it's really a balance of creating a habit for that, and just being aware of, like, okay, this week I have X, Y, and Z, so I can post about that. And I don't typically post more than once a day, because if I do, my algorithm does not like it. And I never share from my business page to my personal page, because then Facebook thinks I'm spam. Other people works great. For my algorithm, it's spam. So,
Oh, that's so crazy.
yeah. Everyone's different. Like, so self-discovery questions. This is something I had to really dive in with. Do you have a game plan to make you stand out? So I had to figure out, what did I want to share that's outside of real estate. People think that I share a lot of my life, but if you really know me, I'm actually super private with a lot of things. I just know how to strategically share certain it's the highlight reels of my life, right? That's all social media is for anyone, the highlight reels. Um And this was huge. These two right here, I think, are the most important questions when self-discovering your marketing plan. What was I most excited about doing? And what did I not want to do? Like, what was my biggest fear? And I think for me, the biggest fear for this year was being emotionally disappointed with certain things that I thought I could do or should do or wanted to do, whatever the unrealistic scenario was I concocted in my head of my fear and obstacle of being vulnerable for whatever it was in my social media. So I think that those are really important questions. And I think once you ask, what am I most excited about? And you have your answer, then say why. Like, you have to ask another follow-up question to really dive in and drive it home. Same thing for the fear. What's your biggest fear or obstacle for this year? Ask that question, get your answer, but then say, why is it a fear? Then once you have that answer, it's helpful to then rewrite that from a limiting belief into something that you can do. So mine was, I'm afraid of tracking my social media and my insights. And then I said, why am I afraid? And I answered, well, because I don't want people to make fun of me or think that I'm too strategic or this or that or fake. Fake was a big thing for me because what you see is what you get with me. So the fact of having a strategic plan and being aware of my insights and feeling like it was me being fake, I had to overcome, because that's not the case. It's really just about how to make the most of it, especially if you're trying to monetize, because you guys are great real estate agents, but you could be making money just by posting on social media and doing what you do. So ask some of those questions. And then incorporate your personal share to humanize yourself. And you guys know I do this quite a bit. I share tidbits and stories about my past and the adversity I've had to overcome, because we all have a story of something that's relatable. And sometimes it really genuinely helps to hear someone else, talk about it as well. And I like this setup too. Kendall Bonner with EXP switched around the know, like, trust to like. They have to like you first, then they have to trust you, and then they get to know you. So for me, that was a huge impact with my marketing, is to know that they're not going to know, like, and trust me. They have to like, trust, then they get to know me. Because if someone likes you, they're more likely to trust you. And if they're more likely to trust you, then they want to get to know more of you. So that's something that you can definitely try and play around with on your social media of when you're trying to post certain things or the message you're trying to convey, and allow people to get to know who you are. I remember once upon a time, you had your fake social media account for your job to see, and then you had the real one. We don't do that anymore. It's all about you. We are all real estate professionals. So why is someone going to hire you over me? I'm in the state of Florida. We have the most real estate agents out of any other state, more than California, more than Texas. So why is someone going to hire me over Heather? You have to let people to get to know you, because if we both did websites, well, and we both had similar prices, who do you go with?
Go the person that you like, you agree with, all that fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. And plan ahead, which I already kind of spoke about. What's going on in your week? How do each of your posts and reel, etc. perform? Pay attention to that. I know on Instagram, when I do a saved audio that's an already existing audio, it's going to outperform anything with original audio. It just is. Every once in a while, I hit the jackpot with an original audio. Like, I did one with my husband where he told me my Santa Claus was not real. That one's got over 9,000 views. I hit the jackpot with that one. It doesn't always happen. And just, are you tracking your insights? Some of these social media platforms do it for you. So then it's just a matter of extracting it and putting it either in a Google Drive or somewhere that's accessible to then come back and look at it. Our Facebook group. Someone questioned one of our Facebook groups, and I know I pay attention to our stats every month. And I said, well, over 67% of our group members are active, and we average 500 to 1,000 requests per month, and it's gone on for 7 years. So please let me know when our group will go stagnant, because they were trying to refute the legitimacy of our group. And I was like, oh, I know our stats. Come at me. I can even tell you who the top 10 posters are and where the top 10 countries are. I love stats. I love them, love them, love them. Check branding. Oh my gosh, this is my biggest pet peeve. When I do one-on-ones with people, this is the biggest thing that I advocate about. Unification helps your algorithm. Unification helps categorize you in Google. So Google is a library file folder on steroids. It needs to see the unified name everywhere to say, okay, that goes together. Let me put all of that stuff here when someone's Googling that. So if you Google hashtag breeze, like it's a breeze outside, breeze 2 keys, all words, no numbers, it's all of my stuff. And that was intentional. So I unified everything to breeze to keys for my real estate business side for that sole purpose. So when someone needs to Google it, they know what it is. I even have the hashtag on the back of my car and my 2 backside windows. And I know when I've been driving around a lot more, because I get a message from my GMB page, which is Google My Business page, that you're up 300%. And that's because people sit behind me. There's no tagline, there's nothing. It just says breeze to keys on it, and they're curious. So they Google it. They even ask, they don't ask me, but they ask Kenny when he has my car at gas stations. They'll be like, oh, what's breeze to keys? And then I get really mad that like they won't ask me, but they'll ask him. I'm like, I want to talk to someone. Yeah.
Have you? I've actually contemplating taking my Instagram handle off of my Jeep, because it's really weird when I get messages like, "Oh, I'm following you," or like from people I don't
I've
know.
never had that.
And that's happened a couple times now, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Like, I mean, the whole objective was really for other Jeepers to connect with my Jeep channel, right?
Yeah.
And guided tours, whatever. And we're always off and side by sides. But it's been really weird because I have received messages like, oh, I'm following you. And I look at the account and I'm like, oh, you're like a kid or whatever, like not like, I don't know. It's just, it started freaking me out just a little bit. And it made me second guess having my Instagram. But the whole point was to connect with fellow Jeepers, side by sides, whatever, like off-road people. And now I'm like, that part just kind of freaked me out. Like, oh, I'm following you. And I'm like,
So
oh,
I have my hashtag on my car, and then I have on my side windows, I think I have a Facebook and Instagram logo image, but they have to search for the hashtag first in order. So I haven't had that. I've had other weird stuff over the years, but not that.
yeah.
But
So it
yeah,
definitely made me second guess. And I know that's the whole point.
change
But
it into a hashtag. Like I said, like I have on this sheet, my hashtag's also my URL as well as my names. So what I tell everyone when I meet with them, make sure whatever branding you're going with, you can claim it for the URL link. You can claim it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever it is you do your social media. And make sure to search the hashtag before you claim it, because as a creative group, we have learned things in some countries mean one thing, things in another country mean another thing. So it's better to be safe and search the hashtag first.
yeah, we learned that one the hard way. Like, oh,
yeah. We
ooh.
will not tell that story, but it was really insightful.
Yes. I think we learned a lot with that one.
Oh, yeah. Google everything.
Yes. I think that's the hardest part, especially those that haven't got their own domain or anything like that. It's like, well, you need to go kind of search that hashtag across the board.
Yeah.
And you want it short and simple, but like
Especially
if you're waiting
with
till now.
slang. Yeah, people change things that you think of one meeting, and then you search the hashtag and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought it meant.
For sure.
Oh, and just make sure you check in with yourself. So, I check in weekly with certain things, aspects. Monthly, I check into my Facebook groups monthly just to see where I'm at. My entire business plan, I do quarterly unless I'm really slacking. But weekly, it's more about just engagement and reach. Like Facebook told me, which I can't believe they did this, I have been up an entire year every single day with my reach, which was really cool. It was like, wow. Because it was a game. Like, first, it would be like, oh, you're up, your engagement and reach is up 10 days. And now I checked last week and they'll send you a little notification and it said your reach is up 350. I was 2 days away when they sent it. It was 350 days. So I was like, almost there. So, yeah, just check in, and it's okay. This time last year, I was very antisocial, in the sense of I didn't post a lot on social media, and I literally killed my algorithm. So everything I've done this year was, I don't want to say a redo, but I really had to build it back up because I wasn't feeling it, and that's okay. It's all right. Once you know how to do it, the mechanics of doing it, it's easier to get back on the bike than starting from scratch. So even if you take a break for your own well-being on social media or the marketing or whatever aspect it is, you need to take a break. If you know the how-tos, it's not as hard and you can regain it again. Okay.
And this is just to remember, in the actual download, we have, kind of like checklists for each of your profiles for social media, for your website, just kind of like a checklist with your profile. And it kind of blows my mind how many people do not check their website and their custom domain. And I'm on my website, gosh, almost every single day, whether I'm doing a blog or, making updates or something like that. Make sure you go, what is on your advertising? I mean, I do websites every day and it blows my mind when I go to find their profiles to add links and try to get information and look at their branding that they're doing. I mean, the first thing I do is I click on the website that's on all their social media, and I'm going to say more than 50% of those links do not go anywhere. So it is just like a pet peeve because I'm like on mine all the time, or it's like, Heather, my website doesn't work. Like, I need you to fix it. And it's like, no, the domain that you bought or that you're advertising is not connected to anything. It's not the website. It's the custom domain. You need to go into your registrar. You need to point it somewhere. Just because you have a domain doesn't mean it's
Right.
a domain is a totally separate thing than a website. So make sure you guys go check that because it is such a pet peeve. And you just heard Bree say how many requests we get for these different groups. I am blown away at the amount of
Secret agents.
because, I mean, it's true. And then we get messages like, oh my gosh, I requested over a week ago. I need someone to approve me. And I'm like, did you answer questions?
Right.
Are you a secret agent? Because if you don't have where you're working or anything about you inside your profile, you're basically going to have to wait until one of the admins has absolutely nothing going on in their life to go make sure you are who you are. Or you can just take, the 30 seconds to answer a question or make sure you're not a secret agent. Some agents have their profile completely locked out, so we don't see anything other than, every year or every 2 years when they change their profile. So, I mean, you have to think about all of those different things and all of your different profiles and just everything that's out there. I mean, I am constantly on it. I tell my agents at least twice a year, go find yourself. And
Yeah.
we even have different websites, I think like brandyourself.com. I mean, that's a great website to put in your name. It's going to try to find, search the internet, look for people like you. I did the paid version for a while because when I was in Google Academy, most of you that, know Heather Holliday is a sword swallower, freak show, whatever. She's international now, since being on MTV. So when you Google Heather Holliday, all the social media says at Heather Swallows. And it's just, you know,
Sorry.
so when I did
That's
Google
great.
Academy, I'm like, use me. I need all the help I can get. And Brand Yourself was able to help me rewrite my bio. So that's why I use Heather H. Holliday. I grew up H3 because all my besties were Heather. So it was just H3 was what everyone called me. So I've just, all my initials are H. So I've just kind of played on that, but different elements and rewriting bios, having my name in there.
ChatGPT.
Yes. Yeah. Now I had ChatGPT kind of help me rewrite because I'm not a writer, but there's just a lot of different things. So we have that in there, and let's see what else. Creating that roadmap, and we're just breezing through because we're way past in the book. This right here, having your ideas, top 10 things you're going to be doing. I like to feel you need 10 pillars to your business consistently. Social media is one.
Yeah.
YouTube would be one. Like, are you door knocking? Are you cold calling? Like, what are you doing? And have 10 things that you're consistently doing in your business.
And
What are
build
you
up
going to
to
do
it.
more of? Less of? Start doing, stop doing. You have to know what's working and what's not. And that's where those numbers come in. Like, stop. I mean, if something's getting you good return on investment, double down, stop the stuff that isn't. But you
Yeah.
have to really give full effort. I say at least 6 months into something, really fully going all in to know if it's working or not, or maybe it's just you. So just different things. You have to have a routine. I have my power hour and what I do. What does your routine look like? Are you constantly prospecting? Are you doing the note cards? Are you making all those calls, all that kind of fun stuff? I feel we have to have somewhat of a routine. I have my power hour where I'm focused on my business and not everybody else's, where no one else is bothering me. And I feel if I didn't have that, I'd be like all over the place.
Yeah.
So I use Asana. I love it because it's a task manager where I have all my repeating tasks. It keeps me sane for sure.
It's true.
Uh,
And if you're struggling with just getting the mindset right, I encourage you this year to help drive home my awareness. I read James Clear Atomic Habits. 10/10 recommend. However you digest information, I have to have a physical book. I do everything digital, but for reading, I just need an actual book. Um, it will break down the science of new habit formation because I promise you everything we've ever been taught is wrong. So
this is something that any agent that does like different coaching, the 5542, Tom Ferry, Power Hour, it's going to be, if oh, I'm in a slump, I don't have anything in the books, like this is what I'm going to tell them. They're going to print it out, and in the workbook it's the other way, so it'll actually print it out. I would say for the next 90 days, every single workday, you do this. You're going to do the 5 calls or texts with past clients, center of influence. You're going to make 5 new connections, new contacts, talking about real estate. Do 4 lead follow-up conversions, and then do 2 social posts. So doing this every single day, you're going to make it a habit if you do it 90 days every work week. So if somebody's ever to tell me, they can't get on track, or they're looking for a side hustle or something, it's like, put all of your energy into your main hustle. And, this would be what I print out and what I make them do. I just think it's
I
super
love
important.
that quote. I think that quote should be made into a poster for everyone. A goal without a plan is just a wish.
And because I'm in my old office, I was like, oh, I don't know if anybody can see what's in the background. This was in my office before I moved to Tennessee. And it's like, set goals so high, they laugh, and crush them while they watch. It was just one of
Oh,
those. I loved it. So it was in my office, and I just saw it in the training room, and I was like, oh, I'm going to put that for my backdrop. I missed that thing. It was pretty awesome. This is my game changer, game saver. I call it the doing done. It is something that is right next to my vision board. So it's just like a little block for every single month. I want to give me 3 things to do. So if you get excited, business plan, I'm going to do it all. You're not. because you're going to try to do everything and everything's going to fall apart. You end up doing nothing. So for me, I like to break it down, doing, done. Give me 3 things. It could be business or personal for each month. And this was my gosh, when when the world kind of changed, this was my saving grace, because I was like, oh my gosh, I just moved. I don't know anybody. The world just shut down. I work remotely. Like, how is this going to work? I was able to go straight here. And I was like, you know what? I have a video for every month. I'm going to do all that right now. I was able to create a full learning management system. And just, obviously we have to adjust our sales sometimes. I mean, the market shifts, the world, our life changes. This right here, whether it be personal or business. I mean, if you like to do end of the year client appreciation parties, well, maybe in August, you need to put that. You're going to have your, team meeting, whoever's going to be involved with it, have your meeting, set up that goal plan. Have, if you're looking to do blogs, if you're looking to do videos on your area, just put one every quarter if that's what you're comfortable with, but start somewhere. But to me, it's a lot easier. It makes everything kind of bite-sized. Just put 3 things you're going to do every single month, and you would be amazed at how much you actually accomplish in the full year. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I have to do this in January. As I said, when COVID happened, I just was able to, well, what can I do right now? Because I can't really be in person, but I can do this, this, and this. And I like to cross things off on I like to print it and cross it off. So that's what this to me, next to my vision board, is a game changer for everything I do in my business, personal, or anything like that. So in the workbook, print at least this and make sure you do that vision board. And then there's just a bunch of different ideas. Thank you, ChatGPT, giving you different ideas on what you can be doing to implement into each quarter. Different blog ideas, different video ideas, just different things that you can be. I'm not going over this because I can't even see it, but I did add it to the book. So when you download it, just different ideas to get expired, to be inspired, think outside the box, just different ideas to be able to implement different things into your business.
And just remember and never compare, because I think the biggest thing that Heather and I have been advocating more quietly than I think some other people, but we're gearing up, is every single person's market's different. Every single person's business is different. So please, 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 if someone in a vacation market is telling you not to do X, Y, and Z, but you're in a more rural market, don't compare. It's a totally different market. And I think that that's a really nice reminder for us all.
Absolutely. And then this is our last class of the year. But next year, we're actually putting together some different classes for your creative hustle. So stay tuned for that. Got lots of good stuff, and let us know what you want to learn.
Yes. And if you have an idea, we are, speaking of different markets, we are trying to have guest speakers on periodically from different markets for marketing ideas. We've already reached out to some of you. You know who you are. Get back to us ASAP. So we would love to have some of you guys on different sessions, because I'm sure you have a lot of value to add to people, as well as we are talking to the individuals who do the disc profile, and we're going to have a session with them at some point in the first quarter. So
awesome. No, I'm looking forward to it. So I hope everyone has amazing holidays, an amazing year. And next year, we're going to be working on some really great classes. So we hope you join. I have the QR codes in there. The replays are in all the groups. So you're good to go. Download that workbook. Definitely let us know. Share your vision board, share your goals, accountability partner. Make sure you have all that. And we went over, but that's okay. It's the business planning. And we took it in, 8 hours from 4 weeks. And now we just did an hour in 20 minutes. So that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right. Bye, everyone. Happy holidays, New Year. And we'll see you next year. Bye, guys.